In the last episode, I forged an uneasy alliance with Kael and our coalition of allies to resist the Requiem Initiative's aggression. But our fragile union was shattered when the initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, exposing the treacherous underbelly of intergalactic politics. I sprinted through the smoke-filled corridors of the Elysium's government HQ, my heart racing with every explosion and scream that echoed through the labyrinthine passages. The stench of smoke and ozone hung heavy in the air as I frantically searched for Lyra, my mind reeling with the thought of losing her to the initiative's brutal clutches. "Alex, we need to get out of here now." Kael's voice pierced through the din, her words laced with a desperation that sent a shiver down my spine. I turned to face her, my eyes locking onto the anguish that clouded her gaze. "We can't leave, not yet. Lyra's still missing, and we can't let the initiative." A deafening blast shook the floor beneath us, throwing us off balance. As we stumbled to regain our footing, a holographic display flickered to life before us, casting an eerie glow over the shattered remains of the government HQ. The face of Archaea, the enigmatic leader of the Requiem Initiative, materialized on the display, her voice dripping with malice. "Elysium will fall, and with it, the last vestiges of resistance will crumble. You, Alex, will be the key to our triumph." Her words struck a chord deep within me, a spark of determination igniting a fire that would drive me to confront the darkness within myself, to uncover the secrets of the ancient architects, and to forge a new path that would decide the fate of the galaxy. I turned to Kael, my voice firm, resolute. "We need to get to the Coalition's base now. We have a war to win." Previously, the Requiem Initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the initiative. As Alex navigated the treacherous landscape of intergalactic politics, he received a chilling message from Archaea, declaring that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. The image of Lyra's scared face, her eyes pleading for help, haunted me as I sprinted alongside Kael through the wreckage of the government HQ. We burst into the Coalition's base, a makeshift hub of resistance, where a somber assembly of leaders awaited our return. The air was thick with tension as we converged around the holographic strategy table, the digital landscape of Elysium's defenses spread out before us. "Reports are coming in that the initiative has breached our outer perimeter," General Ortega announced, her voice grave. "We have less than an hour to fortify our defenses before they overrun us." I clenched my fists, a cold sweat trickling down my spine. "We need to prioritize. What's the status of our ground troops?" Kael's gaze flickered to mine, a hint of unease dancing in her eyes. "Our soldiers are scattered, trying to hold off the initiative's advance. But we have a larger problem, Alex." My instincts screamed at me to ask, but I already knew the answer. "What is it, Kael?" Her voice barely above a whisper, she confessed. "We have a mole within our ranks. Someone is feeding the initiative our coordinates, our strategies. They're playing us against each other, sowing chaos and confusion." The room fell silent, the weight of betrayal settling over us like a shroud. I felt my grip on reality begin to slip, the darkness within me stirring, urging me to lash out, to condemn the unknown traitor to a fate worse than death. But I forced myself to breathe, to think, to lead. "All right," I declared, my voice steady. "We need to identify the mole, and fast." "General, can you—" A commotion at the edge of the room interrupted me. A hooded figure dressed in tattered Coalition attire stumbled forward, eyes wide with fear. Wait, please. You have to listen to me." I recognized the desperation in those eyes. It was the same desperation that drove me to save Lyra, to save Elysium. "What do you know?" I demanded, my hand on the figure's shoulder, drawing them closer. The hooded figure hesitated, then whispered, "I know who the mole is. I know how to stop them." A glimmer of hope sparked within me. Could this stranger hold the key to turning the tide of war? Or was this just another trap, set by the cunning initiative to further divide and conquer us? Previously, The Requiem Initiative had launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the initiative. As Alex navigated the treacherous landscape of intergalactic politics, he received a chilling message from Archaea, declaring that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. I glared at the hooded figure, my mind racing with the possibilities. "Who is it?" I demanded, my grip on their shoulder tightening. "Tell me who's been playing us like pawns." The figure swallowed hard, their eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape route. It's Senator Aditya," they stammered. "I worked in her office. I saw her communicating with the initiative. She's been manipulating the coalition from the inside, feeding them intel," and Senator Aditya's face flashed before my eyes, her smooth smile and calculated gaze now twisted into a grotesque mask of deception. I felt a burn of anger, a desire to confront her, to make her pay for her treachery. But I knew that would be a mistake. We needed to keep our cool, to use this information to our advantage. "General Ortega," I said, my voice even, "please take a team to apprehend Senator Aditya. We need to contain this situation before it spirals out of control." The general nodded, a look of determination on her face. "I'll take care of it, Alex, but we need to move fast. The initiative is closing in and we can't afford to waste any more time." As the general departed, I turned to Kael. "We need to fortify our defenses, Kael. We can't let the initiative overrun us. What's the status of our orbital platforms?" Kael's expression was grim. "We've lost 2 platforms already, Alex. The others are holding, but it's only a matter of time before they fall too." I gritted my teeth, my mind racing with strategies and counter-strategies. We were running out of time, and I knew I had to make a drastic move to turn the tide of this war. "All right," I said, my voice firm. "Here's what we're going to do. Kael, I need you to rally our remaining forces and prepare for a counterattack. We'll focus on taking back our orbital platforms and securing our perimeter." Kael nodded, a spark of determination in her eyes. "I'll make it happen, Alex." I turned to the hooded figure who still stood frozen in fear. "And you, stranger, you're coming with me. We need to dig deeper into Senator Aditya's treachery and find out what else the initiative knows about Elysium." As we parted ways, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were standing on the precipice of a new era. The fate of Elysium hung in the balance, and I knew that the choices I made in the next few hours would decide the course of history. The darkness within me stirred, sensing the chaos and uncertainty that surrounded us. But I knew I couldn't give in to it, not yet. I had to keep my wits about me, to lead with courage and conviction. For Lyra, for Elysium, and for the future of the galaxy, I would not falter. Previously, the Requiem Initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the initiative. Alex received a chilling message from Archaea, declaring that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. In the aftermath, Alex discovered Senator Aditya's treachery and ordered her arrest, while planning a counterattack to retake their orbital platforms and secure their perimeter. As I stormed through the underground corridors of Elysium's government, the hooded figure in tow, I couldn't help but feel like I was walking into a trap. The air was thick with tension, and the flickering fluorescent lights above seemed to hum with an ominous energy. We were running out of time, and I knew the initiative could strike at any moment. Suddenly, my comms device beeped, and Kael's voice crackled through the speaker. "Alex, we have a situation. The initiative is attempting to breach our central command center." "We need—" A deafening explosion cut her off, and the ground shook beneath my feet. I cursed under my breath as the lights flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. The hooded figure whimpered, and I dragged them forward, my heart racing. We stumbled through the darkness, the only sound the creaking of twisted metal and the muffled cries of the wounded. I could feel the panic rising, but I pushed it down, focusing on the task at hand. As we turned a corner, a faint light beckoned in the distance. I quickened my pace, the hooded figure struggling to keep up. We burst into the command center and my heart sank. The room was in shambles, consoles destroyed and bodies strewn about. Kael stood tall, her face smeared with smoke and sweat, as she directed her soldiers in a desperate defense against the Initiative's forces. I spotted General Ortega, her arm bleeding but still firing her rifle with precision. In that moment, I knew we were on the brink of collapse. The Initiative had us outgunned and outmanned, and our defenses were crumbling. But I refused to give up. "Kael, we need to fall back and regroup," I yelled above the din of battle. "We can't hold out here much longer." Kael's eyes locked onto mine, a spark of defiance burning within. "We can't abandon our people, Alex. We have to hold this ground." I hesitated, torn between my duty to protect Elysium and the harsh reality of our situation. But then a strange sensation washed over me, as if the planet itself was responding to my doubts. A fierce determination ignited within me, and I knew exactly what I had to do. "Kael, General Ortega, fall back to the secondary command center. Well, regroup and come up with a new plan. I'll handle the Initiative's forces here." Kael's eyes widened, but she nodded, understanding the unspoken message. I was about to take a desperate risk, one that could change the course of the battle, and perhaps the fate of Elysium itself. As the soldiers fell back, I turned to face the Initiative's forces, a cold, calculated smile spreading across my face. I knew exactly what I was capable of, and I was willing to unleash the darkness within me to save Elysium. The battle was far from over, and I was about to unleash hell on my enemies. Previously, the Requiem Initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the Initiative. Alex received a chilling message from Archaea, declaring that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. As I stood alone in the ravaged command center, the sounds of war echoing through the corridors, I summoned the ancient power coursing through my veins. My eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, and I could feel the planet's core responding to my presence. The Initiative's forces, fueled by their leader's ambition and desperation, seemed to falter, sensing the shift in the balance of power. In a burst of fury, I unleashed a maelstrom of energy, shattering the Initiative's defensive lines and sending their soldiers reeling. The room shook, and the air crackled with electricity as I wielded Elysium's power like a weapon. The darkness within me raged, and for a moment I lost myself in its depths. When the storm subsided, I stood victorious, the Initiative's forces in disarray. But my triumph was short-lived, as a transmission from the Requiem Initiative's leader Archaea pierced the silence. "Alex, you may have won this battle." Archaea's voice dripped with malice, "but the war is far from over. Lyra is safe for now, but her fate is tied to yours. You will come to me and you will surrender. Refuse, and she will suffer the consequences." My vision blurred and my grip on the planet's power faltered. Lyra's face, etched with fear and determination, haunted me. I knew I had to make a choice, one that would determine the course of the galaxy. I took a deep breath and my voice, laced with determination, echoed through the corridors. "I am coming for you, Archaea. You want me? Y'all get me. But on my terms, not yours." With that, I set in motion a plan that would either save Lyra and shatter the Requiem Initiative's grip on the galaxy, or condemn us all to eternal darkness. The fate of Elysium and the fate of the cosmos hung in the balance. Previously, the Requiem Initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the Initiative. Archaea, the mastermind behind the Initiative, declared that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. As I stood tall, my determination to rescue Lyra and bring down the Requiem Initiative burning brighter than ever, I gazed out at the ravaged landscape of Elysium's capital city. The once pristine skyscrapers now lay in ruins, smoke billowing from the wreckage like a grave warning to the survivors. But I knew I couldn't afford to dwell on the devastation. I had to move, and fast. Kael, we need to regroup and reassess, I said, turning to my conflicted ally. We can't let the initiative dictate the terms of this war. We need to take the fight to them. Kael's eyes narrowed, his expression a mask of ambivalence. I'm not sure I am ready to commit to your plan, Alex. The risks are too great. I grabbed his arm, my grip like a vice. You want to know the greatest risk? It's not taking a stand against the Requiem Initiative. It's letting them win. For a moment our eyes locked in a battle of wills. Then with a subtle nod, Kael relented. I am with you, Alex, but we need to move carefully. The initiative won't hesitate to use Lyra as leverage. I released a slow breath, a plan formulating in my mind. I have an idea. We need to infiltrate the initiative's headquarters, gather intel on their operations, and find a way to extract Lyra without sacrificing our own lives. Kael's eyebrows shot up. You want us to go in alone? I smiled, a cold, calculated smile. Not alone. I have a few acquaintances who might be willing to lend us a hand. As I spoke, a sleek, silver ship descended onto the ravaged cityscape, its engines thrumming with a power that sent a shiver down my spine. The hatch slid open, and a figure emerged, a woman with skin like polished ebony and hair that cascaded like a waterfall of night. Alex, she said, her voice husky and confident, I see you're still alive, and still hell-bent on taking down the Requiem Initiative. I smiled, a spark of hope igniting within me. Astra, it's good to see you. I have a proposition for you. Are you ready to join the fight? Astra's gaze swept over the ruins, her eyes flashing with a fire that matched my own. I was born ready, Alex. Let's take down the initiative and shatter their chains of oppression once and for all. With Astra by my side, I felt a sense of determination coursing through my veins. We would rescue Lyra, we would destroy the Requiem Initiative, and we would forge a new future for the galaxy. But as we set off towards the initiative's headquarters, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched, that Archaea was waiting for us, her plan unfolding like a trap. And I knew that soon, I would have to face the darkness within myself head-on. Previously, the Requiem Initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the initiative. Archaea, the mastermind behind the initiative, declared that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. As I stood on the precipice of my next move, Astra by my side, I felt the weight of Elysium's fate hanging precariously in the balance. The ruins of the capital city still smoldered, a haunting reminder of the devastation the initiative had unleashed. But I couldn't afford to dwell on the past. I had to forge a new path forward, one that would lead me to Lyra and ultimate victory. Astra's ship, the Midnight Eclipse, sliced through the atmosphere. Its advanced sensors and stealth capabilities our best chance at infiltrating the initiative's stronghold. We flew in silence, the tension between us palpable as we navigated the treacherous landscape of our own motivations. As we approached the initiative's headquarters, a fortress-like structure hidden deep within the heart of a dying star, I could feel the darkness within me stirring. Archaea's words echoed in my mind. You will be the key to our triumph. What did she mean? What secrets lay hidden within Elysium's core, waiting to be unlocked? All right, Alex, Astra said, her voice low and steady. We're approaching the perimeter. Time to get to work. I nodded, a plan crystallizing in my mind. Take point. You provide cover fire from above. We need to create a diversion to get past their defenses. Astra's eyes flashed with a warrior's intensity. You got it, Alex. Let's do this. With a deep breath, I leapt out of the ship, my boots thudding against the scarred terrain. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning fuel and ozone, the very atmosphere charged with the tension of impending battle. I sprinted towards the fortress, Astra's ship hovering above, its cannons blazing as it laid down a curtain of fire to mask our approach. I reached the entrance, a massive metal door guarded by two hulking mechs. I raised my hand and a burst of energy erupted from my palm, crippling the machines. The door slid open, revealing a dimly lit corridor that stretched into the heart of the fortress. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. Lyra was here, somewhere, waiting to be rescued. And Archaea was waiting for me, her plan unfolding like a trap. As I ventured deeper into the fortress, the shadows seemed to writhe around me, as if the very darkness itself was alive, watching and waiting. Previously, the Requiem Initiative launched a devastating assault on Elysium's government, shattering the fragile alliance between Alex and Kael, and Lyra was captured by the Initiative. Archaea, the mastermind behind the Initiative, declared that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. As I stepped into the dimly lit corridor, a chill ran down my spine. The air was heavy with the stench of smoke and ozone, the walls seeming to close in on me like a vice. I could feel Lyra's presence nearby, her desperation and fear calling out to me like a beacon in the darkness. Suddenly, the corridor erupted into chaos. Alarms blared, and sirens wailed as the fortress' internal defenses sprang to life. I sprinted forward, dodging laser turrets and avoiding deadly traps set to ensnare intruders. Astra's cannons continued to lay down a withering barrage outside, buying me time to navigate the deadly gauntlet. I burst through a door, finding myself in a detention block. Cells lined the walls, each one containing captured rebels or Elysium's officials. My heart leapt as I spotted Lyra, her eyes locking onto mine with a mixture of relief and determination. "Alex!" she screamed, her voice hoarse from shouting. I sprinted towards her cell, energy crackling around me as I blasted the door open. Lyra stumbled out, her arms wrapping around me like a vice. "Get us out of here, Alex," she whispered, her voice trembling. I nodded, pulling her close as I surveyed the detention block. We had to move, and fast. The Initiative's forces would be closing in soon. As we made our escape, I spotted a familiar figure watching us from the shadows. Kael, his expression unreadable, stood motionless, his allegiance hanging precariously in the balance. Lyra's gaze followed mine, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. "Kael, what are you doing here?" I demanded, my hand instinctively going to my blaster. "I came for you, Alex," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "Archaea wants to make a deal. She's willing to spare Elysium, if you surrender to her." Lyra's grip on my arm tightened, her eyes flashing with warning. I knew Kael was playing both sides, but what was his ultimate goal? Was he trying to buy time for us, or was he playing into Archaea's hands? I glanced around the detention block, the captured rebels and officials watching us with a mixture of hope and desperation. I knew what I had to do. I had to take a chance, to trust Kael's words, no matter how treacherous they seemed. "Let's hear her out," I said, my voice firm. "But Lyra, you're coming with me. We're in this together no matter what." Lyra nodded, her eyes sparkling with determination. Together, we followed Kael through the winding corridors of the fortress, the darkness closing in around us like a suffocating shroud. We were walking into the heart of the beast, but I was ready. I was ready to face Archaea, to confront the secrets hidden within Elysium's core, and to forge a new path forward no matter the cost. As we approached the throne room, the door slid open, revealing Archaea's imposing figure. Her eyes locked onto mine, a cold, calculating smile spreading across her face. "Ah, Alex," she purred. "I've been waiting for you. You're just in time to witness the birth of a new era." The era of the Requiem Initiative. I stood tall, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew this was it, the moment of truth. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, to confront the darkness within myself, and to emerge reborn as a leader capable of uniting the fractured factions of Elysium against the forces of oppression. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. I was ready to decide its course. Previously, Lyra was captured by the Requiem Initiative, and Archaea declared that Elysium would fall and Alex would be the key to their triumph. Alex navigated the deadly gauntlet of the fortress, rescued Lyra, and agreed to hear out Archaea's proposal to spare Elysium in exchange for his surrender. As I stepped forward, my eyes locked onto Archaea's, my heart pounding in my chest. The air in the throne room was thick with tension, the silence between us a palpable force. Lyra stood beside me, her hand grasping mine, her presence a beacon of strength in the face of overwhelming odds. "So, Archaea," I began, my voice firm, "what do you propose?" Archaea's smile grew, her eyes glinting with amusement. "Oh, Alex, it's quite simple, really. You see, we've discovered the key to harnessing Elysium's core lies within your unique connection to the ancient architects. You're the linchpin to unlocking the planet's true potential." I felt Lyra's grip on my hand tighten, her eyes flashing with warning. I knew what Archaea was insinuating, that I was the key to controlling Elysium, to bending its power to the Requiem Initiative's will. "And what do you plan to do with this power?" I asked, my voice wary. Archaea's expression turned cold, her voice dripping with menace. "Well, use it to bring order to the galaxy, to unite the fractured factions under our banner. And you, Alex, will be the symbol of our triumph, the face of our new era." I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized the true extent of Archaea's plan. She didn't just want to conquer Elysium. She wanted to enslave the entire galaxy, using my connection to the ancient architects as a tool of control. "I'll never agree to that," I spat, my anger rising. Archaea's smile grew wider, her eyes glinting with excitement. "Oh, but you will, Alex. You see, we've discovered a little secret about your past, one that will make you eager to cooperate with us." My mind raced as Archaea's words hung in the air, a sense of foreboding growing inside me. What secret could she possibly have discovered? And how would it change the course of our struggle against the Requiem Initiative? As I stood there, frozen in uncertainty, Lyra's grip on my hand tightened, her eyes locking onto mine with a fierce determination. I knew in that moment that I wouldn't be swayed, that I wouldn't betray Elysium or the galaxy to Archaea's whims. But as I looked into Archaea's eyes, I saw a glimmer of something more, a hint of a deeper plan, one that went far beyond mere conquest or control. And I knew that I had to uncover that secret, no matter the cost, if I was to have any chance of stopping the Requiem Initiative and forging a new path forward for the galaxy. Previously, Alex confronted Archaea, the mastermind behind the Requiem Initiative, and refused her proposal to surrender in exchange for sparing Elysium. Archaea revealed that Alex's connection to the ancient architects was the key to harnessing Elysium's core, and threatened to exploit this power to enslave the galaxy. She also hinted at a dark secret from Alex's past that would make him compliant with her plans. As I stood frozen, Archaea's words hung in the air like a guillotine's blade, ready to strike. The throne room seemed to shrink, the shadows closing in on me like a trap. Lyra's grip on my hand was the only anchor keeping me grounded. I searched Archaea's eyes for any sign of deception, any hint of what this secret could be. But her gaze was a mask of cold calculation, revealing nothing. Suddenly, the air was shattered by the blaring of alarms, the sound echoing through the fortress like a scream. "What's happening?" I demanded, spinning towards the doors. "It seems Elysium's defenses have been breached," Archaea said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "The Requiem Initiative has launched a full-scale assault on your precious planet. You have a choice to make, Alex: surrender to me and I'll spare Elysium. Refuse, and it will be reduced to ashes." Lyra's grip on my hand tightened, her eyes flashing with determination. I knew what I had to do. I turned to Archaea, my voice firm. "I'll never surrender to you. Y'all have to take Elysium by force." Archaea's smile grew wider, her eyes glinting with excitement. "Very well, Alex. Then let us end this." The doors burst open, and a legion of Requiem Initiative troops poured in, their blasters blazing. Lyra and I were forced to retreat, fighting our way through the fortress as we desperately sought to escape and regroup with our allies. But I knew that our time was running out. Elysium was on the brink of collapse, and I was the only one who could save it. As we fought, I couldn't shake the feeling that Archaea's secret was the key to unlocking our only hope for victory. I had to uncover the truth, no matter the cost, but for now I had to focus on survival. The fate of Elysium and the galaxy depended on it. Previously, Alex refused Archaea's offer to surrender, and instead chose to fight back against the Requiem Initiative's assault on Elysium. knowing that his connection to the ancient architects was the key to harnessing the planet's core, and that Archaea had a dark secret from his past that could be used to control him. As the Initiative's troops closed in, Alex and Lyra were forced to flee the fortress, leaving behind the only home they had known for months. My heart raced as Lyra and I sprinted through the winding corridors of the fortress, blaster fire echoing off the walls behind us. We had to get out and fast. The Requiem Initiative was closing in on all sides, and our allies were still reeling from the surprise attack. I could feel the weight of Elysium's fate crushing down on me, the burden of responsibility threatening to suffocate me. I knew I had to keep moving, keep fighting, no matter what. We burst through a side door, emerging into the cool night air of Elysium's surface. The sky was ablaze with laser fire, the sounds of battle raging across the planet. I spotted a group of rebels pinned down behind a nearby barricade, returning fire against a squad of Initiative troops. Without hesitation, Lyra and I sprinted towards them, joining the fray. The next few hours were a blur of chaos and adrenaline as we fought to hold back the Initiative's onslaught. I lost count of how many times Lyra saved my life, or how many Initiative troops I took down. But with every passing minute, I knew we were running out of time. The Initiative was too strong, too well-equipped. We needed a miracle and fast. And then, like a beacon in the darkness, I saw it, a sleek, silver ship landing on the outskirts of the battlefield, its engines glowing with an otherworldly energy. The symbol etched onto its hull was unmistakable, the emblem of the ancient architects. My heart skipped a beat as a figure emerged from the cockpit, clad in a suit of gleaming black armor. "Kael," I shouted, waving him over. "We need to talk now." Kael sprinted towards us, his eyes locked on mine. "Alex, I've got news," he yelled over the din of battle. "I've found a way to harness Elysium's core, but we need to get to the planet's central hub fast. The Initiative is closing in on our position. We don't have much time." I nodded, my mind racing with the implications. This could be our only chance to turn the tide of battle and uncover the secrets Archaea had hinted at. I turned to Lyra, my heart aching with worry. "I have to do this," I said, my voice low. "I have to save Elysium no matter what it takes." Lyra's eyes flashed with determination. "I am with you, Alex," she said. "To the end, no matter what." Together, we sprinted towards the central hub, Kael leading the way. The fate of Elysium and the galaxy hung in the balance. It was time to make a stand or risk losing everything we had fought for. Previously, the Requiem Initiative has launched a devastating assault on Elysium's fledgling government, and Alex must navigate the treacherous landscape of alliances and rivalries to fortify the planet's defenses and unmask the moles within their ranks, all while confronting the darkness within himself and facing off against cunning foes. As we burst into the central hub, the air was thick with tension. Kael led the way, his suit of black armor glinting in the dim light. Lyra and I followed close behind, our blasters at the ready. We knew the Initiative could have agents waiting for us, eager to sabotage our last-ditch effort to harness Elysium's core. The hub itself was a vast, cavernous space filled with ancient machinery and holographic terminals. Kael strode towards the center of the room, his eyes fixed on a glowing crystal nestled at the heart of the machinery. "This is it," he said, his voice low and urgent. "This is the key to unlocking Elysium's true potential. But we need to move fast. The Initiative is closing in, and I've detected at least 3 squads heading our way." I nodded, my heart racing with anticipation. This was it, our final chance to turn the tide of battle and restore hope to the galaxy. Lyra stood shoulder to shoulder with me, her eyes flashing with determination. Just as Kael began to work on the machinery, a group of Initiative troops burst into the hub, blasters blazing. We returned fire, Lyra and I working in perfect sync to take down the enemy soldiers. Kael's armor glowed with energy as he deflected blaster shots, his focus fixed on the crystal. Suddenly, the machinery hummed to life, and the crystal began to glow with an intense, pulsing energy. The air around us seemed to vibrate with power, as if Elysium itself was awakening from a deep slumber. "It's working," Kael shouted, his voice barely audible over the din of battle. "We're harnessing the core's energy. We can use this to drive the initiative back and reclaim Elysium." But just as we thought we'd won, a figure emerged from the shadows, Archaea, his eyes blazing with fury and betrayal. "You fools," he spat, his voice dripping with malice. "You think you can defeat me? I've been playing you all along, using you to get to this very moment. And now, with the core's energy at my fingertips, I'll crush you all and enslave the galaxy." I felt a cold dread creeping up my spine as Archaea raised his hand, and the machinery responded to his command. The energy emanating from the crystal began to build, growing more intense by the second. "Kael, we need to shut it down," I yelled, my mind racing with desperation. We can't let him control the core's power. But Kael's suit was frozen, trapped in a web of code and deceit. Archaea's secret, the one he'd hidden for so long, was finally revealed. He was the mastermind behind the Requiem Initiative, and he'd been manipulating us all along. Lyra and I exchanged a desperate glance. We knew we had to act, and fast. With a fierce cry, we charged towards Archaea, determined to stop him and shatter the initiative's hold on the galaxy. The battle that followed was intense and brutal, the three of us clashing in a maelstrom of blaster fire and hand-to-hand combat. I could feel the weight of Elysium's fate on my shoulders, the burden of responsibility driving me forward. But as the fight wore on, I began to realize that I was more than just a rebel leader. I was a galactic symbol of hope, a beacon in the darkness. And with Lyra by my side, I knew I could overcome even the most daunting odds. In a final, desperate bid to turn the tide, I focused all my energy on the crystal, channeling the core's power into a blast of energy that sent Archaea flying across the room. Lyra took advantage of the opening, striking the final blow that sent the mastermind crashing to the floor. As the machinery died down and the energy dissipated, we stood victorious, battered, bruised, but triumphant. Elysium was free, and the galaxy had a new hero to rally behind. In the aftermath of the battle, as the dust settled and the rubble was cleared, I stood on the surface of Elysium, Lyra by my side, and gazed out upon the stars. The galaxy was forever changed, its fate rewritten in a burst of courage and defiance. And I, Alex, was reborn, a leader, a hero, and a symbol of hope in a desperate universe. Epilogue. As Elysium began to rebuild, Lyra and I stood at the forefront of the galactic resistance, inspiring a new generation of rebels to rise up against the remnants of the Requiem Initiative. Kael, freed from Archaea's control, became a valuable ally, his knowledge of the ancient architects proving instrumental in the fight for galactic freedom. And I, the hero of Elysium, gazed out upon the stars, knowing that there were still adventures to be had, mysteries to unravel, and wars to fight. But for now, in this fleeting moment of triumph, I smiled, for I had found my true purpose, and the galaxy would never be the same again.